Okay, very good.
So how is everybody today? Again, my name is Marcus Wadsworth. We're talking self-defense. We got a lot of participants here. Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you, Sally. Good to hear. So it's beautiful weather over here in Alexandria, Virginia, where I am currently located. Awesome. Hello, hello, hello to you, Alice, Jackie, Renee. Well, I hope to make you laugh a little bit more and we learned something, Star. Oh, Jackie, your son lives over here. I went Petersburg, Virginia, Ray J. I went to VCU. Oh, Star, that's wonderful. So I'm wait another minute before we get started. I hope everybody's ready to move and learn a little bit of something about self-defense. We're going to have fun, but it's also a very serious issue, as we know, but why not have some fun with it as well? And we're going to do some movement throughout our process, and I'm excited. So I'm just going to wait about another 30 seconds. Oh, Ohio. Hey, Tiffany. Yeah, it feels like summer here. This week is supposed to be perfect. So after this, I'm going to go play with my old dog. It's National Pet Day for all those animal people out there. Every day is National Pet Day for me, though. Oh, gosh, we have quite a few participants. Wonderful. Okay. One moment. Baker view. All right, folks, we're going to get started. So folks, if you can just adjust to speaker view, that would be great, but let's get moving. So again, my name is Marcus Wadsworth. I'm here, beautiful Alexandria, Virginia, right outside Washington, D.C., right outside the Beltway. Let's get started off. Obviously, we're talking about self-defense here, a very important subject and close and dear to my heart. And so just to get things started off, we're going to imagine a particular scenario. And I would love for you folks to put in the chat box some scenarios where self-defense may be necessary. And what we're going to do, we're going to get up off our butts. We're going to get away from our desks for a moment. And we want to imagine, have a line in front of us, a shadow in front of us, and imagine that there is an assailant. And what we're going to do is we're going to do what we commonly know as shadow boxing. And so what we're going to do is just let's get moving a bit. And I want to do a couple pointers here. So I'm staying on the tips of my toes. And we're not going to have to remember all these techniques or anything like that, but it's good to plant that seed. So what we're always doing in any situation is guarding our face and guarding our internal organs with our elbows. And what we're going to do is let's just do some shadow boxing. And we're going to be attacking a particular point in our vision, a line, something like that. Excellent. I see some hands up. Beautiful. And so we're just going to and we want to move as well. Get moving And we're imagining that line right in front of us, which is our assailant, and we're going to aim for a target and throw combinations in there. And what do I mean by combinations? A series of different punches. So our assailant will never know what's coming at us. I love Star, absolutely, with your punching. We always want that thumb outside our fingers. So excellent. So let's do a little bit more of that shadow boxing. Excellent. But that's exactly right, Star, because you'll break your thumb otherwise when you land a punch. Okay, so just a couple more seconds. Let's get that. Just finish off nice and strong with a flurry of punches. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. All right, so there's just a few pointers, and we're going to get back to moving in a moment. So quick history on martial arts as we know it today. So back in the 20th century, with entertainment, with kung fu movies, there was a proliferation of what we call in the martial arts world, TMA, traditional martial arts, your karate, your kung fu, your taekwondo. All of these styles are great. However, they're sports. So as time goes on, marketing and making things look beautiful, like in karate, they're called katas, where you do a certain movement, choreographed movement. So also, and that was, very much in the Eastern hemisphere. And obviously with Bruce Lee and Kung Fu movies, entertainment pushed it towards the West. Whereas in the West, we've had established styles such as wrestling, boxing. However, we tend to view them more as sport. So, but still, they are choreographed movements. What we're talking about today is not pretty. It's never as we plan it. So as opposed to, like, say, movies, and well, if we're sparring, it is still way out of control compared to our martial arts class, to an actual real world situation defending ourselves. So, okay, folks, I have a question for you. Is it me, or is it that there's a lot of trouble out there? There's a lot of assaults. I mean, the statistics are crazy. Is it me? Is just put in the chat box and give me your opinion on, does it feel like it's more dangerous? Is that in urban settings versus rural settings where it's like, but it just seems like, for example, and I don't want to be a bummer by any means, but there's a person on the metro was just pushed for no reason right into the train tracks. I mean, just insane stuff. So is there a perception out? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so it's not just me. It just feels like there's an increase of mental illness, aggression. And so therefore we need to be more vigilant. I don't want to be paranoid, but we certainly need to be aware of the zeitgeist, meaning the sign of the times, the way times are. And so thank you for, Christina, Jesse. Okay. Oh, so Sonia just indicated in Arizona, when the heat starts popping up, it gets, I've noticed as well, weather and changes in dynamics that tend to change people's moods, changes of seasons. Star, yep. So it seems to be a consensus here through folks chatting that consensus, it's unanimous that we all are seeing, and I guess that's why we're all here, because we want to be a little bit more prepared in our day-to-day lives with self-defense. So thank you for that. That's very engaging. And so first things first. Now, we're not going to be dealing with details and techniques as far as gun defense, because firearms are the most efficient weapon ever created by man, other than WMDs. They are projectiles, meaning they cover distance, so they can be effective from a far distance. So how do we defend against a gun attack? Firearm concealed permit. Yeah, Star, I got you, but we're doing hand-to-hand, so concealed permits, that's not in my purview, at least for today. But how do we deal with
Yes, I was just saying you can't take that everywhere. So
Absolutely. And are you going to have it prepared? Being prepared for something that happens very quickly, we have to have instinctual reactions. So you may not have your firearm ready, even if it is available. So it's a good point, Star. Thank you. But so really, honestly, if we're dealing with someone who has a gun pointed at you, how do you deal with it? We raise our hands. Let's not be a hotshot here. Then to another tier of blades, knives. That is not a distance weapon. However, close distances is lethal. And so there's no room for error here. But we still have what is our most the preferable option in a self-defense: get away, create distance, run. And so with a knife attack, you do still have that option, but you cannot ever put your life at risk for any reason, whether it's a purse, the phone you like, or your wallet, whatever. Give it over, okay? But what I'm here for is the self-defense hand-to-hand, fight or flight. And so I'm going to pull it over to the slide for about fear, if we could here. So yeah, and so fear, okay. No fear versus knowing knowledge of fear. Those who have no fear, no fear, are fools. Fear is a biological response towards danger. Now, it can cut both ways. It can be a positive thing. It can make you super nervous before something that is not a danger for you, like public speaking. Or, but it can also make you hyper aware of your surroundings. It can make you freeze like a goat. Star, I love it. That's exactly, and you're wonderful, because that's a great segue to what we're talking about. Because when we harness our fear, we're able to use those biological reactions that we have extra power, extra awareness, and extra efficacy when we're dealing with this in a physical manner. So, for example, if we're in a scary situation and we're afraid, but we don't know how to deal with that situation, we don't know how we're going to act. We're going to act instinctually. So what we want to do is we want to train our bodies in a physical manner, so we're in some kind of physical fitness, but also train technique. So we have a quick reaction as opposed to a flinch, as we call it. We are not afraid, and we have some sort of reaction that will help us defend ourselves. Okay, and so there's a lot of myths out there about self-defense, and I touched on it before about gun defense, and you'll see in movies where they push the gun away. They better have a slow trigger finger for that kind of thing. So it's never pretty. It's never choreographed. It's never the katas from karate, all these things. It's messy, it's ugly, and it's brutal. So if we could throw some in the chat box, some scenarios. It's not scenarios, excuse me, some myths about self-defense. They may not be a myth. They may be sort of true, but give me some ideas of what you think works and what doesn't work, specifically what doesn't work, but within the common knowledge people think do work. So throw some ideas out there. And if we don't, that's okay too, because I'll just move right along. So okay. Oh gosh, that's it. So someone is looking at my notes. Sally, Crystal. Thank you, Renee. So go for the eyes. So this is a great segue in that. So there are myths like you're not going to be a kung fu artist taking on 10 assailants. However, there are high percentage versus low percentage activities. Okay, so let's start with the eyes. Okay, yes, if I get gouged in the eyes, it's going to hurt. But we also have the reaction of our eyelids, which close immediately and are actually pretty strong in defending an attack as you clench your eyes. So what if you miss that? What's happening to those punches that are getting thrown out while you're going for the Larry Cohen? Are they going to do that? The classic defense for the eye gouge. So you need to aim for small targets, get across that distance in order to get the eye gouge. That is not as high percentage, honestly. I wouldn't recommend it, and I wouldn't do that if I'm getting attacked. Then there's other things like a chop to the throat. That is even lower percentage for the very same reason. Small target, and you also have to deal with their defense. Okay. Just as I believe Starr mentioned, a firearm. However, the same thing goes with something like pepper spray. If your pepper spray isn't out and ready to go, what's the point? It's just it's a heavy keychain. Another one. So all of these have varying degrees of efficacy and high percentage. So if someone's leaving their eyes open, by all means, go for it. Someone mentioned foot, groin, going for the groin. Now, again, that's a smaller target. And also, speaking as a male, has a delayed effect. And adrenaline can almost overcome that effect of getting punched or kicked in the groin. So and there are a couple others, like a real low percentage, if you know these things, pressure points or a Spock, Vulcan death grip. These are never going to work. Never try them. But what is a high percentage, as we call it in martial arts? It's a simple, and I believe who said it, who hit the star again? The knee. It only goes one way, one direction. It's very sensitive. Even if you're not doing anything and you get old enough, it hurts. But what we want to do, and I'm just going to step up for a moment to show what we call in Muay Thai, the front kick or a teep. And all you're going to do, and we're going to get off our seats again, and we're going to practice the front kick, which basically is you're going to stomp the knee. And if you can get an angle, oh, lovely. Well done. That's exactly right. And your hands are up, Sally. So what we're going to do for a good 90 seconds, we want to practice that front kick. And so I'm going to exaggerate for the camera's purposes, but we're going to go at the knee. Our hands are always up. So let's do a good 90 seconds. Hands are up. And we're going to do a front kick to the knee. And so clearly you're just seeing my shoulders move. So I'd like to just exhibit the technique once more, and very slowly, we want to get up, have our hands up, and simple as that, stomp the knee. It's a big target. They'll have one pointed right at, oh, excellent, Sally. Couldn't do it better. We're going to have our hands up, guarding our face. You have that big target, the knee, and if we can get an angle on it to make the knee go either way, whichever way horizontally, all the better. When it's effective, the next person they mug better bring a walker. So what we want to do is let's continue our front kick. And you can also use your back leg. We want to use the leg that is facing forward because it requires less of a wind up and it telegraphs less. What is a telegraph? It's when you show what you're about to do. We want to have as little amount of time as possible. We want to snap that right kick out. And let's just get a couple more seconds. And that front kick, our hands are up and our elbows are tight, but loose, and we're always loose and relaxed. And we're doing our front kicks, and we want our front kick to come from our front leg because we don't want to show off the wind up or telegraph what we're doing. Great job, folks. Okay. Just a moment. All right. So as far as efficacy okay, none of us are going to get a mastery of what we're doing today, of self-defense today. But what we want is to plant the seed and to understand at least one or two techniques that are going to be effective, that are not incredibly difficult to know. And so first one, your go-to is that front kick to the knee. For one, you're not going to knock anyone out with that, but if they can't move, who cares? And you can create that distance and run. So that's extremely important. So you're going to hit, you've heard from me already, distance. Distance is everything. Distance dictates what we do. It dictates how the conflict transgresses. So we've already started with some type of distance, and we're able to use that front kick. Okay. Now let's say they get even closer in. So let's learn another technique. Let's get back up again. So we're going to break a little sweat today. Let's get some exercise. And just like similar to what I was describing in our initial shadow boxing, I like to teach you a simple, classic boxing combination. Hands are up, always. Elbows tight, but not super tight and crazy. Loose, we're relaxed. What we want to do is throw a jab. That's going to be your weak hand. So if you're right-handed, you're punching with your left hand, and it's going to be facing forward. This helps with our distance, our jab. So what we want to do is just throw, and we can say we're going to throw it down the pipe, right down the pipe from our chin, pushing our jab. And it's also referred to as the one. It's a combination. So we often do 1, 2s, and 3s and assign numbers to the punches or strikes. Our second combination, or our strike, will be a 2, also known as the cross, or a straight. We're going to have a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. And we're going to use our hips to push those through. So in fact, I'm punching right now with my hips. I don't even need to use my arms. I'm using my hips to push from the ground because that's where power comes from. Otherwise, you throw an arm punch, it's just your arm. So, and now our third strike will be a hook, also the 3. Jab, also known as a 1, cross, a 2, and a 3, the hook. They may see the 1 coming, they may block the 2, but they're not going to see the 3. 1, 2, 3. We also, just as a couple pointers here, we want to stay on the tips of our toes, nice and relaxed and mobile. So let's move with those 2 techniques. We have our front kick, and we have our 1, 2, 3. Jab, cross, hook. And so let's mix those up. Let's get our front kick and our 1, 2, 3s. And again, just as we indicated at the beginning of the presentation, we want to focus on a line, a shadow, or something that is the target of our aggression. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Front kicks, front kicks. Great job, Sally. Nice snap. Everyone's doing great. Okay, let's do that for a little while. Whew. Now, if you're at your office, you're at home, and someone sees you doing this and thinks you're crazy, well, you just tell them, those who do not hear the music think the dancer is crazy. Okay, there's your little proverb for the day. 1, 2, 3, front kick. 1, 2, 3. And you don't have to do it in a specific order. I recommend the front kick right off the bat. And if you're unlucky enough to have to deal what we say trading hands, throwing hands, but first and foremost is the front kick. So great job, folks. Now, so that's medium range. So we dealt with far range, which is the kicks. Medium range, that's more of our throwing hands. And then the closest we get is in grappling. And so grappling is extremely intricate, detailed, and we're not going to be getting into that today. But as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist myself, I absolutely recommend. There's been a proliferation of BJJ studios throughout the nation and throughout the world. It's extremely popular. I frankly believe it's going to be one of our next Olympic sports. And so, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can teach the weak to be strong. You can fight from your back. You can throw, also the creators of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the Gracies, a Brazilian family. They were, person who created was the weakest person in the family, or so they said. And the style was created out of Japanese Jiu-Jitsu to help the smaller person, to help women fight. Ooh, Crystal joined Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, I'm a Yamasaki guy. And that means we also come from the Gracie family. Everyone who does jiu-jitsu can trace their lineage all the way back to Japan. I digress. I apologize. Grappling. So as far back to grappling, all fights end up on going to the ground. Okay. So if any kind of duration, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 to the ground. 1, 2, 3 to the ground. These are times where those who have heard a little bit about jiu-jitsu, you do want to have full guard, and that means your legs are around their hips. But we're not going to go through that today, but I do encourage folks to just check out basic grappling. So, but one thing that we can do when grappling and up close is biting. So we're all going to practice biting right now. I'm just kidding. But seriously, if someone is that close and they're after your safety, don't allow them, and do whatever you can to stop that. So when you are in that close range, what does your environment dictate? Is there rocks around? Can you, because if you're in that situation, you have to do whatever you can to stop that person. And so with grappling, when you're up in that close proximity, biting, whatever you have to do, that is where more of the eye gouging becomes far more effective. Okay. All right. So I think it goes without saying, folks, that fighting, the actual implementation of movement towards injuring someone or protecting yourself, is our worst case scenario. We never, ever want to be in that situation. True martial arts is never being even close to a fight to begin with. Why? Awareness. We want to be aware of our surroundings. Okay. Now, in the chat box, I would love for folks to tell me what I'm about to complain about that mitigates awareness on a day-to-day basis that we see everyone doing. And I'm sure most of you do as well when you're maybe, okay, ding, 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 ding. Hello. And earphones. Absolutely. Thank you, Sally, Julie, Sonia, Star, everybody. We all knew that answer. But I believe a lot of us are also guilty of that, aren't we? Noise canceling. Amen to that. Okay. So let's look at the natural world. Let's look at a prey animal, the rabbit. Huge ears. Why? So it can hear a predator. Eyes on each side of the face. Big eyes, so it can see what's going on. Okay. And what do predators have? Weapons. Okay. When when we have our earphones in, and like I said, I'm right outside DC. I grew up in Washington, DC. We see this everywhere, and it's happening a lot on the metro and our subway. People aren't paying attention. And so what we're doing, because also our mind gets absolutely absorbed in our phone, and whatever we're doing on our phone with our noise canceling, we completely take ourselves out of our awareness. Nice, Felipe. Amen to that. You may not be able to do that, make TikToks for long. Felipe just indicated that making TikToks is not your best idea. I would agree. And so, So how do we make ourselves less attractive to predators? Okay, so one way is not to be so oblivious to our surroundings. When we eliminate sight and sound, what do you expect? You do become something that is attractive towards someone that wants to do damage to you. You're an easy target. You're the sick or old wildebeest. So don't act like prey. So we're past self-defense, right? We're doing preventive defense. So what's a great technique? Anyone have any ideas? Put in the chat box. What are some techniques outside before any kind of nasty engagements may occur? what are some things that we can do to kind of make ourselves less attractive to a criminal? Any ideas? Oh, someone, Renee, Lauren, you've done some studying. I was just going to say, so one thing that's extremely effective, and in fact, a lot of the folks I train that are are in the police department, they recommend, just as folks have indicated, walk like you're on your way to kill Captain America. Nice, Star. Buddy system, absolutely. Confidence, stay in the light, strength in numbers, eye contact, flattering clothing. I'm not touching that. Brisk, determined, walk like we know we're going. Lauren, bless you. Walk with confidence. Renee, amen. Star, you are hilarious. Don't kill Captain America. Okay, I agree with that. But what we want to do is look confident, look strong, not hunched over. What we'll say in the personal training world is that our shoulders want to be somewhat retracted, meaning back, and somewhat depressed. That shoves our head up so as tall as we can be. And just like the folks have indicated, walk with determination. Walk like you're strong. Walk like you are unafraid, because criminals are cowards. They go for the weakest link. They smell fear. If you're not afraid, if you don't look afraid, they don't want anything to do with you. They need something easy. They're cowards. They're lazy. If they would work it this hard at getting a real job as opposed to messing with folks, they would be super successful. I've always wondered why that is. Love that, Sonia. My door is locked for your protection. Excellent. So, awareness. We need to be aware of our surroundings, but also project strength and not weakness. We can't allow people to think that we are an easy target. It's going to be a bad day for you if you mess with me, okay? So like I said, the next person you mug better bring a walker, okay? So if we could put in the chat box again, let's come up with some checklists items, and folks hit on them big time. Are you alone? Are you with friends? Let's come up with some ideas that can help us further, or some things that we're looking at. So is alcohol involved? What time of day is it? My mom always told me nothing good happens after midnight. The older I get, the more I agree. Sally, keys out, ready to use. So you're working with exactly as I said before. If your keys aren't, if you're in your wallet or your purse or your pocket, they're no good to you. But if you're ready, you're going to be ready, and your assailant will also know. Mama does know. My mom is, nobody would mess with her. Oh, okay, Star. Heels can be a weapon, but they also, we're talking about footwear. Men, flip-flops, tough footwear, or slippery loafers, these things aren't good. So if we're heels, that can be a great weapon, but not necessarily when they're on your feet, especially when rule 1 is to get distance. So what would we do if we're wearing heels or flip-flops or something that doesn't allow for good movement? We discard them. So yes, but no one wants to catch a heel to the face. We all can. I agree, Star, no doubt about it. So that, Star, that does also go back to the point, your environment. If there is a weapon at your disposal that's going to help you get out of there alive, you use it. So again, criminals are cowards. Don't make yourself easy prey. So they look for the drunk. They look for the weak, those who are oblivious to their surroundings. So we want to make that absolutely, unfortunately, make them choose someone else. It's like that old joke. I don't have to run faster than the bear. I just have to run faster than you, referring to your friend that you're with. So same deal. Folks like that have malice in their heart are going to go after someone. It just can't be you. And so we're going to be completely prepared to mitigate those circumstances before we even leave the environment. And also have heightened awareness from one environment to the other. For example, the police and FBI folks I train, they do their situational awareness. They will review the restaurant there and they'll look at the exits. A lot of folks, and it sounds paranoid, but will have their back to the wall to look at the door to who's coming in. And I'm not suggesting we be paranoid and cynical about the world, but there are things that we can do, obviously, to mitigate these situations. So let's not be attractive prey. So, folks, where the rubber hits the road, and I would like to see a lot of answers here in the chat box. What can you do, any of you, in today or wherever you're going about somewhere? And you can just say whatever we have already discussed as far, but let's add a safety factor that we don't already have to add to our agenda for the day, or how we approach our day and how we travel through the day on our commute, or we're going to the store. Because as we know, this day and age, no place is all that safe. And so let's come up with some safety practices that Alice, Christina, Crystal, Cynthia, Deb, Elizabeth, Felipe, Glenda, Holly, Jackie, Julie, Chris, Lauren, Lanita, London, Marissa, Michelle, Patricia, Ray J, Renee, Sally, Sandra, Sonia, Star, Tiffany, and Tanya can do in order to make yourself safer, to give yourself a little bit of also peace of mind. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through some of these here. No, okay. Pay attention. Just be aware. Be present. Absolutely. As simple as that, Julie. Pay attention to your surroundings. Again, that's it. And I know it sounds simple. It's obvious. But if it were that obvious and that simple, I wouldn't have brought it up. And everyone here wouldn't have had the same answer as far as how we distract ourselves. Never leave valuables open in their car. Now, and I hope I'm pronouncing this properly, Ray J. But in Alexandria, where I live, the biggest crime is folks going through your cars. But also, let's understand, are we going to engage someone who's breaking into your car? We don't know what they have in their pocket. So also, I always go on the side of safety and not engaging someone who has ill will towards you, whether it's to steal the pocket change from your car seats or it's just to mug you. Parking your cameras. Christina, I agree with you, but cameras are not safety devices. They'll help the police, but they're not going to help you in a split-second situation. I agree. It's going to help the court case when they have to review the cameras, but it is important to know that cameras can't help you a lick. Put my phone away while I'm walking to and from my car. Tiffany, absolutely. And, and it just goes to the fact of awareness and safety. That's why there's so many laws about cell phone use when you're in your vehicle. I mean, it's just very simple. It's just, you need to be paying attention when you're driving. And so you want to be aware of your surroundings and not texting someone. So it's the same principle, only more immediate when we are in our surroundings. So hands-free. Yes, Lauren, absolutely. Park in well-lit areas. Now that's absolutely true, Julie. And, I know that's an old school one, but it's just so important because it's that preventative measure in which, okay, I know someone's not likely to come here at all or find this area attractive for me to, for them to attack you. So a well-lit area also, when people are around, really lowers the chance of something happening and makes an assault or robbery far less appealing. Have your keys ready. Absolutely. And same goes if you do have pepper spray and that kind of thing. Let's be careful, of course, you don't want to go trigger happy, but if you feel in danger, keys in between middle finger and your ring finger, not index and middle. This is where your knuckles are hardest, right here. And you can kind of feel it. A stabbing motion or whatever you got to do. We're not going to worry about remembering every single technique, but certainly have your weapon ready. If you have that, your spidey senses going off, there's danger around, be ready, get out of there, get in a safe place, get around people, pay attention to surroundings. Yes, Marissa. When opening the door to your house, have a doorbell camera behind it, shove their way in. Oh, wow, star. So, yeah, so if being aware of when someone's could be, I'm sorry. Stand by when you're someone, if you're in, more populated area, someone could try. I haven't thought of that. So, and that goes back. So, Star mentioned that some folks try to shove their way into your apartment or house as you're opening the door. If so, and that, also with the ATMs and that kind of thing. So having eyes in the back of your head. So that goes back to the point that there's just infinite scenarios in which we can be in danger. And so just awareness, these simple things can really help mitigate that. Personal alarm on the keyring. Oh, wow. That is great. Absolutely. And so that, Chris, that's interesting because, we've all heard about if you're getting accosted and you yell help, no one comes. So instead you yell fire. Who knows if that's true? I tend to believe it. Unfortunately, nowadays, folks will just run up and start recording what happens. But forgive my cynicism, but certainly having some way to jar the assailant or shock them, a personal alarm to make them go crazy. Absolutely. Don't go alone at all. Absolutely, Elizabeth. Sonia, absolutely. We're learning something today. Everyone is doing so well. And I know it's simple, but situational awareness, assertiveness, eye contact, keep your head on a swivel. Stay in well-lit areas. Call attention to yourself if someone approaches you with intent to harm. Yep. Always tell your family where you're going, everything. So absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. Check your back seat before entering the car. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I love that, Renee. Keeping your arms not bogged down with, because that is, I would imagine if you're bogged down with bags and everything, that is attractive. And also, let's not even necessarily assaults, but those bag grabbers who just run up and steal stuff. A person who has a ton of Saks Fifth Avenue bags or whatever, grocery bags, you're not stable in your footing. You're not aware. So that's a really good one. I love that. Oh, don't assume something will only happen in public. I love that because I think we're all guilty of that. It's not just going to happen. I mean, statistically speaking, it's not going to happen to most of us. God willing, none of us. But I think, we tend to be more on guard in urban or city areas. I'm in a suburb. I love that, being aware at all times, even if you're at the park. For example, jogging, and you're in a placid, bucolic area and you're just happy as can be, earphones in maybe. That seems like a safe area, and you're moving. Let's not assume that you're safe. Trust your gut. Absolutely. I don't know if pepper spray is still a thing. Back when I was growing up, it was called mace. I love it, Jackie. So apparently, spray is still a thing. Oh, I love it. Yeah, don't be afraid to use your bag or whatever you have as a weapon. Your environment can help you. A rock, a stick, whatever it is. Be willing to go that extra mile in order to get the job done. Okay. So we all have gone through our scenarios, possibility, what could happen, how we would approach it at different levels. Okay, so let's do a little choose your own adventure as a children's book series when I was growing up in the 80s. And so, okay, we're walking or we're coming from a late night party, a bar, a restaurant, whatever. Are we walking home? Okay, what do we do on the way home? We're not on our phone. And please add in your thoughts as we're going here. and we're well-lit areas as we walk home. But what if we're not walking home and we're waiting for our Uber friend or whatever? We're not going to stare at our phone. We're not going to. And if we've had one drink or two, let's not show it that we have. Okay. Let's keep ourselves comported in a strong and fearless manner. Okay. So we are showing that we're not afraid. We get into our car, go home safe. Great night. Okay. What if we can't avoid something? Okay. And someone is facing us. Okay. Do we have the distance to run? So obviously I'm summarizing now what we need to do in these situations. Do we have the distance to run? Does the footwear allow us to run? Can we run? Can we get out of this situation? Okay, we can't. Let's just say we can't. Choose your own adventure. That doesn't work. What do we do first? Any ideas? What should we do first? Based on my recommendation, anything can work as long as it works. What do we practice? That front kick to the knee. Big target. There you go. Thank you. Right answer. It's a big target. It disables your opponent. It telegraphs very little. Yes or nay. Excellent. Love it. We've been listening today. That's first. Your kicks are heavier than your punches. They're not going to expect a knee. Everyone expects you're going to punch the face. The knee will disable them. Then we do what? Run. Okay. And so what if that doesn't work? Then we're going to add more combinations. We're going to add that 1, 2, 3. What's our 1, 2, 3? Jab, cross, hook. Now, Felipe, thank you. A roundhouse. That's funny. I don't recommend the roundhouse. What is a roundhouse? It's also known as the good old John Wayne. 99% of folks, specifically males that are going to attack in a hand-to-hand, are going to use either the overhand right, roundhouse, John Wayne, whatever you want to call it, or a takedown. So it's predictable. What's wrong with the roundhouse? It's telegraphed. I can come in with a jab and pop you right in the nose before that roundhouse ever lands. Now, if it lands that roundhouse, that's a knockout punch, however. So it's not wrong. I'm just adding a caveat there, Felipe. So one thing that's also important, I may have neglected to point out, if we're in a conflict face-to-face and we can't run, the only time we are turning our back is to run. If we are stuck in this with a person in front of us, do not turn your back. You can't fight like this. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. We never turn our back. And also, you don't have to remember this, but we don't want to cross our feet because that can cause tripping. That's another story. That's a technique for another day. But we never turn our back to our opponent. So we have our front kick, our 1, 2, 3. Okay. And another important point, if we are forced into that situation, we do not wait. We say in martial arts, we get off first. If they're approaching aggressively, don't wait for them to say something or give me this, 1, 2, 3, or front kick, both, whatever. If you know it's going to happen, ask for forgiveness later. Okay. And so that leads us to laws. Okay. Honestly, if I'm in a situation where my life is in danger, I'll worry about a judge, jury, executioner, police after the fact. My life is more important. However, one caveat is that if, let's say, one of us gets over on an opponent and you hit them with a rock and they're out of it. If you follow up with lethal force or while a person is incapacitated, that gets you in a little bit of legal soup. I'm no attorney. I'm not a police officer, but certainly when you are merciless towards someone, that does bring the law in. So that is something to be aware of, but you cross that bridge when you come to it, God forbid. And so so we're about to finish up. I've had an absolute wonderful time with you folks. But I do want to touch on something that's very serious to all of us, I am sure, and domestic violence. And, because, we're talking about strangers and that kind of thing. Domestic violence happens with folks that we live with, know, what have you. It is a very serious issue, and it's not as simple as awareness or technique. But one thing I want to convey is that there is help out there. There are resources through your local government and state government, and even the feds as well. And so I have been harping on this idea all seminar, but create distance and run. If you or someone you know is in that situation, it's not going to get better. Create distance, run, get help. Your life is more important than that. So that's it for today. Let's have some conversation. We still have some time. We have 10 minutes to go. We can, chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm obviously I'm a little passionate about the issue. And so whatever I can do, you're all very welcome. Thank you so much. So any questions out there, bring it on. Come on. Very welcome. So welcome. Thank you. Be safe out there, my friends. And I hope to meet all of you in person one day. Thank you so much. I'm happy. Oh, wonderful. I'm happy to come back whenever you want to see me. And so I would love to join you again. Thank you. And yes, your daughters, this is important stuff. To be quite honest, where do the statistics of assault lie? Primarily on females. And so, so we definitely want to, it's so important that women specifically learn self-defense. So be safe out there. Thank you so much. I love sing a caps thank you with a heart. Gift of Fear. I love Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBeeker. Everyone should read The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBeeker, Debeker. That is a wonderful book. Please get it. It articulates so much of what we have discussed today and so much more. That's a great book. Great suggestion, Tiffany.
I think it's really amazing how that book shows that, we're taught to be polite and things like that. Like, you never want to act like somebody's, you don't want to assume somebody's a bad person or anything like that. So you put a lot of pressure on yourself to never make someone feel like you're judging them in any way. And so you put yourself in dangerous situations. But when you have this inner animal instinct that picks up on things that you don't even realize you're picking up on, that's really what that book teaches you to do, is to listen to that. And I think it's huge. I'm going to make my daughter read it before she's able to go out on her own and things like that, because we don't need to be polite in situations where we're in danger.
Amen to that. People pleasing can take some bad turns in that regard. How far we are willing to go just to not be rude it just amazes me at times. So I think that's a great point, and that's definitely recommended reading. And in fact, I'm going to add that point to my next talk. So I'm stealing that.
I love it. I stole it from Oprah a long time ago. So
truth is truth, right?
Yes, he came on to her show. That's how I actually had the book introduced to me, as I was watching an episode of Oprah. I mean, that tells you how long ago it was. Sure. And she had Gavin DeBeeker on there, and I immediately, it is such a fast read. It's a great read. But, and then I saw it actually come to fruition in our, I actually read it after this happened in our lives, but I've seen this come to fruition in our lives. My sister, there was a man that wanted to date her, and she didn't get a good feeling about him, but she didn't want to be rude and things like that. And I mean, just, she went out on dates with him, that she even became, his girlfriend at some point. But let's just say, I mean, it did not end well. We had a huge domestic violence issue in our family. And she said she knew from the very beginning he was a bad person to allow into her life in any way. She had little signs along the way, but she kept ignoring them. And so, and it cost our family a lot for sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope everything turned out well. And it goes to show, listen to your gut, because sometimes the heart will lead you astray.
Absolutely.
I do hope things are on the upswing for your sister, I believe it was.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. And I hope to talk to you soon, Tiffany.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other thoughts, folks? You have a couple folks still here, and happy to answer any questions. I've enjoyed it so much. So thank you. So I think we will wrap it up if there is nothing else. And again, thank you so much for having me, all two of you that are, or Michelle, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey,
Hey,
nice. I decided you were going rogue, so I just let you go rogue.
I'm gonna stop recording.